Hi, this is Beto Paredes, and I am the CEO of Marketplace Masters. Some of you also know me from Model Mayhem as Invalariant Artist. I am also a photographer working with XS Modeling, and this is a combined effort between XS Modeling and Marketplace Masters to offer you an opportunity to promote our show, to be able to go out and speak with dealerships and go into the dealerships themselves and give them an opportunity to come to our show. I'm going to give a little bit of an explanation as to what it is that we're doing here. I highly suggest you spend some time on our website, which is marketplacemasters.com. First of all, there's a few shows in the industry. A lot of these dealers are used to going to these shows, and they have different styles of training. Our training is very focused on sales and management, as well as also a few other departments in the dealership. A lot of these dealerships send several of their employees as well as their dealer principals and managers to these shows. And so you can expect some pretty good results from walking into a dealership and going through the process of inviting them to the show. So first of all, one of the things that matters the most is that when you get onto the website, that you get a little bit familiar with the things that we have. And so I'm going to go ahead and cruise through the site real quick and just show a couple things. This is our main page. And on our main page, we have some of the most important information that we have right here for dealerships right up top. It says our conference is set right after summer, just in time for the holiday season. This is the only show this year that you absolutely must attend. Regain your market share and supercharge your dealership for the coming Christmas and tax season. So it's set right before the Christmas and tax season. It is September 6th, 7th, and 8th. And for that reason, that's something that you can really use as a hook when you go into these dealerships that you really want to get supercharged for the Christmas season and the tax season. We've got some of the best sales and management trainers in the industry. If you look up here in our top, or actually right here, the Magnificent Seven, Tom Stuker, Don Reed, Mark Tewart, Tim Kentz, George Dans. These guys are all very well known in the industry. And so, especially if you mention Tom Stuker, we're going to get into that just a little bit here. The introductions are very easy and simple, and we have an on the lot special that is made for the dealership. So, spend some time on our site. The passes are only $3.99 for a dealership that is very inexpensive. They're used to paying anywhere from $500 to $1,000 to attend these shows. And so, this is a deal. This is something that they definitely will find as affordable. And honestly, if you spend some time looking at some of our competition, we've got one of the best show formats online. In all honesty, we really have one of the best shows in the country. And so spend some time on here kind of going through the site and learning a little bit. One of the things they're going to want to know a lot more about is the sessions and agenda. And from here, if you click on conference info and go to sessions and agenda, that'll take you to our page. Right here, this is our show. This is the page that you want them to take a look at when you first sit down and actually have them pull up the website. This will show them exactly what the sessions and agenda are. We have two stages. Okay, it's important to know that we've got a keynote and an expo hall stage, so there's a lot for them. Spend a little bit of time looking at the actual sessions and agenda so you can get familiar with what's going on with that. The rest of these links are important, but the two most important ones when you're sitting down with the dealer is the home page and the sessions and agenda page. So spend some time on our site. We're going to get right into the information about how this promotion works and what you have available for these dealers. So let's get into this. This is the Marketplace Master Dealership Series promo opportunity. There is a way for you to make some incredible money during the summer between now and the time that we actually have the event in September. So we've got the spread here going into August. If you spend some time every day out talking to dealerships, you're going to make some incredible money. So let's talk about what that looks like. How does the process work? Okay, so first of all, you're visiting local dealerships and telling them about our conference. Okay, we've got some flyers for you to give out. We're going to cover those in just a minute. You're offering them an on-the-lot promo to buy 2 passes and get 2 free. So if they buy at least 2 passes per dealership, we're going to give them 2 free. And we talk about some of the franchise dealers, a lot of them have multiple locations. So those 2 free passes are good for every dealership that they have people coming from. So if there's a Honda dealer and they've got 12 locations, well, that's 12 times 2, which is 24 free passes for every 2 that they buy. You want to offer this on the lot promotion immediately when you get in and speak with the people there at the dealership to let them know that this promoter opportunity that you have is available while you're there at their lot. And it's very easy to get in and speak with these guys. They have sales guys out front that are trained to meet with people as they come into the dealership. So you should be able to get in pretty quickly. You want to hand them the information about the show. Okay, I'm going to show you those flyers here in just a minute. You want to hand them a business card tied to your account manager. Okay, so you each will have an actual account manager, and this is really important. I'm one of the account managers as well as Natisha here that works with us. So what happens is you give them a business card, it'll have your name on it. The telephone number is tied here to our office. If you'd prefer to have your telephone number on there, we can certainly do that for you. But having the account manager is really a huge advantage for you. For example, if you go into a dealership, especially the franchise dealers, we're going to get into each kind of dealership and what that looks like in just a minute. A lot of times you're going to have to come back a couple of times to get the sale officially done because they're larger and they've got decision makers that are at their dealership that they may need to speak with. But the franchise dealers are a big deal. We're going to get into that in just a little bit and why that's such an advantage. But what happens is our account manager will help you get back into the dealership. While you're there, you do want to try to figure out when the best time to come back and get these passes sold are going to be, because again, it's while you're in the dealership that they have the option to get the buy two passes and get two free. So this is an on the lot special. You want to have them pull up the show website and give them the promo code. Okay, the promo code for this will be on the back of your business cards. There's two promo codes that we have. I'm going to explain those to you in just a little bit, but the most important one is the one that's on the back of your business card. That's the one that they enter into the website that will give them the two free passes as long as they're purchasing at least two passes. So again, it's very important to have them pull the website, because if you can sit down with them for a minute, get the show site on their computers, even if they don't have a ton of time to review with you right then, they've got the show website up on their computer, and so there it is for them to look at, and next time they have a couple of minutes, it's still sitting there on their computers. Again, our website really sells the show because we've got one of the nicest formats out there. They spend a little bit of time on our site, they're really going to get what it is that they have an opportunity to do here. Have them pull it up. Make sure you've got that as one of the main things. Hey, listen, could I sit down with you and actually have you pull up the show website? Try to get a confirmation of the sale before you leave. A lot of these dealers will buy while you're there, as long as you're patient and find out who the best person to talk to. And we'll talk about who those people are in just a minute. They'll buy from you before you leave. If they're not going to do that, then try to confirm the next time to come in. Hey, listen, when can I come back? When do you think you'll be able to make a decision? I'd like to come back in and speak with you. They're going to want to see you again. You're there, you're nice and dressed up, you're in a dress. They definitely want your company, I guarantee that. So if you just speak with them a little bit about when you should be coming back, that's important to do before you leave the dealership. If they do need time, again, ask when you need to return. Okay, that's just, again, one of the most important things is if you show up at a dealership at 10 a.m. and the general manager's there and he needs to talk to the owner, well, find out when he'll be able to do that so that you can come back in at the right time and you're not just checking back in with him when he doesn't really have an opportunity to buy from you yet. Sit in your car and shoot the best contact info to your account manager. So once you've left the dealership, take the business card from that particular person, whoever you think may be the best person to speak with in order to finish up the sale, and get that over to your account manager. Just take your phone, snap a shot of it with your phone of the business card, make a few notes, and just text that over to your account manager. At that point, they're going to help you get back into that dealership so you can get these passes sold. Okay, these are very quick sales. A lot of these will happen on the lot while you're there. A lot of them may take 2 or 3 visits depending on the size of the dealership. But after you get in here and get going for a few days, you should have several sales a day that are coming in from your efforts. So let's talk about the different kinds of dealers. Again, right up top, I say be persistent and stick around until you know your next move. Do take the time to spend with the dealership, to ask the right question, ask who you should sit down and talk to, and be persistent. You're there, you're on the lot, you've got a great deal for them, and believe me, once they really go through the show format, they're going to want to buy these passes because we give their sales and management staff some incredible training. This is training that they can't even pay for on the lot without spending thousands of dollars. One of the things that we tell these guys is we've literally got thousands of dollars worth of training on stage. We've got some of the best speakers in the industry. We really do. So let's talk a little bit about the 3 different kind of dealerships that you're going to run into. The franchise dealers, okay, the first one on their list here. These are the guys that you see out there with the Ford sign up, with BMW, with Hyundai. They're the franchise actual new car dealers. These guys are probably some of your best prospects. They have a longer sales cycle, so you might want to plan whenever you do this to know that you're probably going to have at least 2 to 3 visits in order to close them on the passes. They're much larger accounts, and you can expect anywhere from 5 to 20 passes being sold. You get 5 passes sold to a franchise dealer, and you just made $500. The amount of money that you can make with us here is pretty good. We've got averages right now with the promo models that we have out there now, making anywhere from $600 to $1,000 a day. It doesn't necessarily, again, happen every day or on the same day that you visit the dealership, but as long as you're persistent and go back into the dealership and work with your account manager, you will most definitely get these sales in. This is a way for you to make some really good money this summer. Who are you looking to speak with? General managers, sales managers, dealership owners, human resources managers, and the sales staff directly. At a franchise dealer, there's a large number of people that could benefit from coming to the show and will be your best indoor. When you first get there, you're probably going to be approached by a salesman that's on the lot. Take the time to make that guy your friend before you try to get past him to find out who's going to be the best person to talk to. Tell that person about the show, hand them a flyer, and then after you explain the show a little bit to just one of the sales guys, because believe me, they're one of the people that these dealers send to these shows. Just recently, 2 of my promo models, Jen and Stevie, had walked into a Honda dealership, and they're in the middle of closing this guy right now. He had 15 locations, plans to send 6 guys from each of his locations. If you do the math on that, they just made a few $1,000s just off of that one decision. And that's not necessarily super common. A lot of these franchise dealers have 1 or 2 locations, maybe more, but they were persistent. They went in, I think, 4 different times, and tomorrow they should be actually closing up on that. So that's literally whatever it might be, like 80 passes that they're selling right there. That's a tremendous amount of money just from one dealership that they went into that then had 15 that they owned and operated. So be patient with them, but you're wanting to talk to the general managers. You're wanting to talk to the sales managers, the dealership owners themselves. The human resources managers, again, are a good shot if nobody else is available. And again, talk to the sales staff. Make sure that right when you get in, right when you first talk to somebody that comes out and speaks with you right there at the dealership, that you hit them up immediately. Give the flyers out to everybody that you can and be patient. They'll take the time. They're set up for people to come in and sit with them and take time with them. And so they're not going to be impatient with you. So take your time when you're at these dealerships. Some of these franchise dealers, they're large enough, you may have to wait a minute for them to come in. Okay, so be patient with them. So who comes to our show? From a franchise dealer, sales staff, service managers, the digital and traditional marketing managers. Those are the main ones. So the sales staff at any given franchise dealership, they're going to have 10, 15 guys that are actually selling cars. Sales managers, there's usually 2 to 4 sales managers. I called a dealership just recently that had 8 sales managers. Anybody that's working in their marketing department, in their digital marketing department, or their traditional marketing department are also going to be great for coming to this show. We got some of the top guys from different agencies that are coming to teach these dealers how to do better marketing. And so we think about it this way, it's sales management and marketing. That's what it is that they're going to learn at this show. And some of the statistics coming from our speakers when they go into a dealership is that they've seen increases in revenues of 30 to 80%. That's a statistic that you can throw out there when you're speaking with them as well. And then, of course, you want to talk specifically about speakers. So we're going to get a little bit into the pitch and some things that are available to you to be able to talk to dealers. We've got a number of different points that you can bring up, and I've got a sheet for you on that. But I've also got the main points we'll cover in just a minute. So make everybody your friend. Get everybody's business card. If you call and you can't get the sales manager back on the phone or the general manager back on the phone, or you get back there and they're not available, if you made the sales staff themselves your friends, those guys are going to be your advocates. Remember, all of these guys are salesmen. If they want to come to the show and you've made friends with them, they're going to go to their general managers. They're going to go to the owners and say, hey, listen, you've got to send at least a couple of us to these shows. So get everybody's business card. If you can't get back in directly with the general manager, go after the sales staff themselves because they'll help you get in and help you get some of these passes sold. Again, it's a very inexpensive show in comparison to some of the other shows out there. So I want to tell you, our success rates are really, really high. For example, I think 2 days ago, Jen and Stevie were out. They visited 7 dealerships. There were only 1 dealership that day that had in-house training that they had set up themselves. They didn't need anything from us. but they almost hook them on the way out with the free pass, which we're going to talk a little bit about the 2 flyers that you have and the hook that you have to kind of keep these guys going. So that's your franchise dealers. These are your better sales. They are a little bit more long tail, meaning most likely you'll have to visit 2 to 3 times to get these guys closed. But these guys are good for anywhere from 5 to 20 passes. Again, it can be even much higher than that depending on the number of dealerships that they actually own. So be persistent when you get in with these guys. All right, independent dealers. These are larger used car dealerships. So you drive by, you see a lot of these guys. It says used cars, and these are the ones a lot of times that say bad credit's okay, whatever it might be. And they're larger lots. Okay, independent dealers are still very large dealerships. They have several sales staff. And the nice thing about the independent dealers is that the principals or the owners are usually on location. Now, they may own 5 or 6 dealerships, which is really good for you. So you still might run into a little bit of the same thing as you do with the franchise dealers, in that you might have to visit a couple of times in order to get things appropriated and get these sales done. But these guys are a little bit easier. You can expect about 2 to 5 passes. Okay, again, unless they have multiple locations, independent dealers can be worth just as much to you as a franchise dealer, because some of these guys have 10 used car lots. So realize that any of these guys could be up to 20 passes or more. But you can expect about 2 to 5 passes depending on how many locations they have. And these guys absolutely can afford this. Remember, do not convince yourself for a second that these guys can't afford to do this. Even the smallest dealerships have good cash flow. For them to be able to come to a show like ours and get the kind of sales and management training that we have is going to help increase the sales at their dealership guaranteed. It's absolutely worth the 3 days that we have at the show. We're going to talk a little bit about show format in just a minute as well. But just realize, even with the independent dealers, you've got a huge opportunity with them to sell multiple passes. Buy here, pay here dealers. These are the ones that you see where you get financed on the lot, right? They're usually smaller car lots. They usually don't have as nice a cars. And a lot of times it may seem like almost like a rundown dealership. But believe me, these guys have cash and they need training just like the rest of the dealerships do. So you go in and you're easily going to be able to sell 2 to 5 passes to these guys. And the nice thing about the buy here, pay here dealers is, again, their dealer principals are usually on location. So the owners are usually there. Sometimes they're even the main sales guy in these smaller dealerships. So even if you drive by a dealership and it looks really small, maybe they only have 100 cars on the lot, those guys can for sure still buy from you. And so don't hesitate to walk into any size of dealership. Every single one of them is a potential buyer from us. And if you keep that in your mind, you're going to do a very, very good job with this. Okay, visiting 8 to 10 dealerships a day will hit your numbers. What I want to do is I want to get you to where you're making anywhere from $600 to $1,000 a day. That's a great income coming in as a promo model, and we've got this to run all the way through the entire summer. So if you spend the time to do this, you'll get it. You'll get paid $100 a pass sold. We'll send out checks daily. Okay, we've got a couple of different banks here. I am Blackfoot, Idaho. This is where our main location is. I've got a U.S. bank here. I've also got a Wells Fargo bank here. So if you've got either of those 2 banks, we can just walk into the bank and we'll deposit checks directly into your account. So we will pay you every day. If you make money today and they go onto the site, they use the promo codes, and they buy from us, you're going to have a way to actually either pick up a check from them if that's how they want to do it, and you can go drop off that check at a Chase Bank for us, or you can actually take their credit card information on a credit card sheet that we have available to you. So if they want to just have you do it by hand and just fill it out, you can do that as well, and you just get that stuff over to us. But every single day that you make sales, we will send you the money that you made from those sales. Okay, so you don't have to wait 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get paid. We're going to pay you immediately. If you get in the dealership, they belong to you. So if you get into a dealer and you give them the pitch and you give them the information, talk about the show, and then send us the business card. Again, one of the most important things is that when you get back to your car, snap a shot of that business card or business cards, depending if there's more than one person that you may find important at that dealership, and send that over to us, and then that is tied to you directly. Meaning, if the account manager calls them up and says, hey, I'm trying to get the promo model back in there to speak with you about picking up the passes, and they just buy right then over the phone, well, we're ready to buy now, and we process the sale, we're still going to give you credit for that. So once you get into a dealership, that dealership is protected as your lead. So if you set aside 4 to 6 hours each day you promote, you will get this done. That's what we've seen so far is with our promo models, they're going out from anywhere from 4 to 6. They're going out from anywhere from 4 to 6 hours a day. They're able to hit anywhere from 8 to 10 dealerships, and their success rates right now are around 80 to 90%. That doesn't mean that people are going to buy the exact day that you walk into their dealership, but they are going to do it with just a couple of visits or possibly on the spot. Some will be the same day. About 30% is what we're seeing right now, that dealers will either buy from you immediately or I'll call back a little bit later that day. We'll get the deal done. And then it's about 70% of them are requiring just a couple of visits. So if you think about it, it's not that difficult to get out there to do these dealerships and offer this stuff and kind of talk to them about what it is that we're doing and get them into this purchase, because we got a great show. If our show format wasn't as good as it was, it may be different. But once they get onto the website and they see what we're doing, they will recognize a lot of the people that we have on stage, and they will understand the intense value that this has for their dealership. Some quick points that you can make, and again, I've got a whole nother sheet that's just got a bunch of other points that you can just keep with you on your clipboard so that you can review that with anybody you're speaking with. Again, your biggest caveat is just to use a few of these points and get them to sit down and pull up the website, because the website really does sell this promotion. So we have 7 of the top sales management trainers in the industry on stage, including Tom Stuker, Mark Tewart, and George Dans. If you can memorize that first line, number one, almost everybody knows who Tom Stuker is. Mark Tewart's been in this business for a long time, and so is George Dans. So they're going to recognize one of those 3 guys. The show is 3 days with over 37 sessions and a full expo floor with close to 100 exhibitors. It's great for them to know that this is actually not just a conference, but it's actually an expo as well. So there's going to be a ton of vendors that are from the industry that are going to be on the expo floor presenting their products and services. So they not only will get incredible conference education, but they can go check out a lot of the latest technology and the latest services that are available to them as a dealership on the expo floor. Your sales department, service department, and marketing department will all find valuable training at our conference. That is something important to make sure you mention, because some of the conferences are just about sales, but we have some of the best trainers when it comes to sales and service and marketing. So that means that one dealership that you go into might have 4 sales staff they want to send, but they can also send their service manager. Okay, the service manager, you'll be familiar with him. This is mostly with the franchise dealers. They're the guys that are in the back that are doing the oil changes and fixing the engines and working in the service department. We've got one of the top service trainers in the industry, Don Reed, coming in. In fact, he's won the top service trainer award 2 years in a row. A lot of the service guys know who this guy is. He's been into 16,000 dealerships in the time that he's been working. So we don't just have great information for the sales staff, but the service department and the marketing department is going to find our show very valuable as well. So if you think about that, and especially a franchise dealer situation, you could easily, if you explain this the right way to them, be selling anywhere from 10 to 15 passes if they're willing to send someone from every department. Your staff will come back ready to sell more cars. We only have the best on the keynote stage, all handpicked. So this is all true. We went out and we've been in this business for quite some time. I've been in the show business in automotive for about 15 years. And when we put this show together, what we really wanted to do was make sure that we had the best people on stage. So we called and brought in the top guys. We wanted to make sure that when the dealers came, they recognized the names and that the education they got was great. And they are going to sell more cars. When they come in and they learn from the best here in this 3-day show, they're going to go back and they're going to do incredibly well. So that's the thing, is you want to tell them, listen, is having the ability for your staff to be able to double their numbers worth $399? That's a great question, because none of these dealers are going to be able to tell you no. All right, we are covering meals for all your attending staff. Now, this is important to tell them, because some shows do cover meals, some shows don't. We cover the meals. We've got coffee with exhibitors every morning. There's coffee, and then there's a little bit of food. Then we cover both lunch and dinner for the 2 main conference days of the show. So we are feeding everybody. That's important because they like that stuff. They like to come and have that experience. And maybe about half the shows out there feed the attendees, but we are doing that. So that's something that you can definitely mention. Make it your mission to get them to a computer to pull up the show website. I'm just emphasizing that one more time, because you've got flyers to hand them out. You've got your business card with the promo code on the back of it. But the biggest thing is get them onto the show website. We've spent a lot of time really making that show website dynamic. So that's going to be your biggest closing model. All right, I just want to show you the actual flyer that you're handing them. We focus on the Magnificent Seven of sales and management training right up front because these are the guys that they're going to recognize. Tom Stuker, Don Reed, Mark Tewart, Tim Kinch, George Dans, all of these guys are very big in the industry. They're going to recognize one, if not all of these guys. And this is just kind of fun, the Magnificent Seven. So this gives them a little bit of a breakdown of what is going on at the show. And this is the first flyer that you hand them. So this is the one that you hand to everybody. So it doesn't matter who you're talking to, whether that's the main sales guy right up front, whether that's the service manager, whether that's the sales manager or the dealer principal, give out these flyers at the dealership. Now, don't hand all of them out. We're talking maybe 4 to 5 per dealership. Make sure this gets into the right hands of the right people. So this is where you hand them, and then you go into your pitch about the show, and then you try to get them to the website so they can actually make the purchase. So it's important that you get into the website again because that's where they actually buy the tickets. Okay, that's where they buy the passes. So this is what you hand them when you first get there. You let them know, hi, my name is X. I am here with Marketplace Masters. We're a show that's in Dallas, Texas, and it's a 3-day show. We've got 37 sessions. We've got an incredible format, and we have what we're calling the Magnificent Seven of sales and management training that are going to be on stage, that you hand them the actual flyer. And the biggest points is your sales staff are going to sell more cars. You guys come get this incredible training. Your dealership is simply going to improve. Some of the sales trainers that we have on stage have seen anywhere from 30 to 80% improvement with the training that they've done in all the dealerships that they've visited. So that's the pitch. Get them there and then let them know that you've got an on-the-lot special that while you're there, you can give them 2 free passes if they'll buy at least 2 passes. And it's an on-the-lot special, meaning they need to do it while you're there in the dealership. That's what you have on the back of your card. Now, to make it clear to you, you don't have to be there really. If they take that code on the back of your card and go enter it into the website, as long as they buy 2 passes, they're going to get 2 passes free. So for you in your own mind, realize that even if you do leave, we can still give them that deal. And of course, we're going to, but you don't want to give it to them that way while you're there. You want to say, this is special as if you can actually sit down and buy these passes from me while I'm here. That's going to help you clean up the sale. It's also going to help your account manager get you back into that dealership so that they can have you there present while they go through and actually buy the passes at that point. Because the most powerful thing is to have you at the dealership while they're buying the passes. That will cut down your sales cycle by a ton. That's one of the biggest things that's been working really, really well for the promos that we're doing. So this is the first flyer that you actually hand out. And then this is our takeaway flyer. Let's say for whatever reason you can't get them to buy at all. Now this, if you've got to come back and revisit with them again to get the passes sold, don't give them this flyer. This flyer is your hook. What I mean by that is if for whatever reason they're not going to buy, they're not interested. Now I'm going to explain to you how this works and what's actually happened, which is pretty cool. You can hand them this flyer, and on here there's a promo code called Texas Dealer. This is good for 1 per dealership. This is a free pass. Why is this important? Is because most dealerships will not just send 1 person, but you're giving them a free pass. This doesn't make you any money, but if you can't actually sell a pass to the dealership, again, our closing ratios have been pretty high, but if you can't sell a pass to the dealership, then give them this flyer. It will give them 1 free pass to come to the show. Now, if they enter that in and this is your dealership, remember, even if you don't get the dealership sold and they tell you no, make sure you get a business card, snapshot that with your phone and send that to your account manager. So if we have this dealership come and redeem this free pass, we know it came from you. But here's what's happened. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. Stevie and Jen went into a dealership. They had in-house training. They didn't feel that they really even needed to go to a show or anything, and they did the takeaway. So they realized that this dealer wasn't going to buy the passes from them there or possibly ever, and so they said, listen, we still want you to come to the show. We'd like to at least send 1 person to come to the show. We're going to give you a free pass. And then they handed him this flyer. Well, that somehow really kind of set well with the sales manager. He's like, wow, so you're going to give me a free pass? He's like, you know what? We're probably going to send a few people. I'm going to start asking around and find out who wants to go. So the thing is, at this, okay, you're walking out of the dealership. They decided not to go. Now you're giving them something free. Hey, listen, at least come to the show. At least send one person to the show. You're really going to learn a lot. And that, in this, for instance, that I just gave you, completely turned them around, and now that dealer plans to send several people to the show. So that's really the grace at the end of it. Look, we at least want you to come to the show. Now, if they come and they fill this out and it's your dealer and they do send more than one person, you're going to get credited for that. So if you walk out of a dealership giving them this free pass and they go enter it in and they add any more passes to it, which again will happen because no one really wants to go by themselves, you're going to get credited for those sales. So that's kind of a nice little piece that we have for you that's available to you on that. Okay, and do spend some time on the website. The website's going to help you a lot. Remember exactly where it's at. It's the Hyatt Regency right downtown Dallas. Remind them that the Hyatt Regency right downtown Dallas, it's kind of an iconic hotel right in the middle of Dallas. Everybody really likes it. And there is a tremendous number of reasons that they should be coming to this show. If you come onto the site, the more you learn about the speakers that are coming, the more time you spend with this, the better you're going to be able to present it. So one of the things I suggest, if you click on speakers, it's going to jump you down to the bottom of the homepage here, and here's all the speakers. If you click on their bios, you'll see that I've done an interview with almost every single one of them, and it would be worth your time in the evenings just to spend maybe 30 minutes or more listening to a couple of the interviews and writing down a couple more key points that you can point out about these different speakers when you walk into these dealerships. This is absolutely probably one of the best things you could be doing with your time. You are definitely going to be closing. We're already closing now. We know this is working. Well, this will work for you. We're here to support you. You're going to be given an account manager. Any questions and concerns that you have, I will personally spend as much time with you as you need so that you get comfortable doing this. But it really comes down to some simple principles. You get your 2 sets of flyers, right? The one that you handle when you first get there and your takeaway flyer. You get your business cards. What we'll do is we'll find a Staples or a Kinko's really close to where you're at, a FedEx office, and we'll send all the materials there. We will pay for those materials. You just got to go pick them up. And then it's very easy to find dealerships. You just go to Google Maps and just look up auto dealers, and you'll see that most of these guys are in the same area. And you've already seen that, where you go to a certain area of town, and there's 15, 20 dealerships that are all on the same strip. Very easy to canvas and find dealers. If you want my help to figure out what you should be doing and where you should be going, absolutely call me. We'll jump on a go-to meeting. If you're working with a Natisha, she can do the same thing. We'll pull up Google Maps and we'll figure out a good strategy for you to be able to get out there and get it done. So very excited about having you here. I think this is going to be something you can do for the rest of the summer and make some really good money, and very appreciative of you taking the time to check out this presentation.